So yesterday I stumbled upon a news clip and they were asking the question, is South Africa a failed state? Now that got my attention because it's one of those topics that I suppose I am interested in. So the question is South Africa a failed state? Before I give my opinion, let me first give you guys a textbook or political definition of a failed state. Then I'll share my views after that. So a failed state is defined as a state whose political or economic system or both have become so weak that the government is no longer in control. It's a state that has disintegrated to a point where basic conditions and responsibilities of a sovereign government no longer function properly. Based on this definition, based on the strict definition of what a failed state is, I don't think we are there yet. There are many organs of the state that I would say are still functioning decently, but at the same time, there are many which are not functioning at all. So I don't think we are a fully fledged failed state as yet. However, if this country continues at this path that it's currently on, then definitely South Africa will become a failed state where nothing will be working. And I think we are not far from that place. There's so many things that are not going right in this country, and we need some type of change. So I definitely believe that South Africa is a failing state. So it's still in the process of failing. And this is why. Number one, our economy. We have a very ailing economy. I think it was in 2020 when Moody's downgraded us to a level that is 2 levels down below investment grade. Even international credit raters, see us as a financial risk. We are heavily indebted. Not so long ago, we went to the IMF to ask for more money. We are on a negative, and you know that if an individual is on a negative in terms of their credit score, that doesn't look too good. You are in trouble. Now imagine that at a scale of a country, when a country is in a way blacklisted. That's not a great position to be in. And with the ailing economy comes high unemployment rates as well. I think the last time I checked, we were on about 36.4%. I think the number is slightly higher if you consider that this is based on people that are actively looking for jobs. There are people who've been looking for jobs but have since given up because they were not getting any jobs. So chances are we are almost on 50% when it comes to our unemployment rate. Now that is scary, and I think that's why then there's a ripple effect, which is the second reason why I think we are a failing state. If you look at our crime rates, crime is driven by a number of things, but one of the things that drive crime is illegal immigration. It's unemployment. People don't have money, so they resort to hustling. They do things that they're not supposed to be doing. They basically become outlaws because they need to survive. And I am not in any way encouraging crime. The crimes in this country are shocking, and we really need to fight crime in SA because it's not safe at all. But you need to understand the ripple effect. So many people are sitting at home doing nothing, and all they think about is to do something illegal. They're thinking about breaking the law in order to put food on the table. So we really need to fix the fundamental problems. And I think the biggest problem that we have is leadership crisis in South Africa. We don't have great leadership. Our leaders are corrupt. Our leaders are not doing what they're supposed to. The ANC has failed South Africans dismally. If there's no leadership, then don't be surprised when all sorts of issues start coming up. Because there's no captain, there's no direction, there's no assertiveness. So the fundamental problem of this country is leadership. If we can sort out our leadership, and I can't even think of an alternative party, because all of them have something that I think this country does not need. We're not looking for excellent leadership, but we're looking for people that will think differently, people that will think outside of the box, because the country has so many problems that traditional ways of thinking will not suffice. We need innovative thinkers. We need people with new ideas on how to transform this country, on how to transform our economy. I think what this country needs is a non-partisan political system, because right now we are where we are because we've given too much power to one political party. That's what happens when power is monopolized. Those people will get power drunk, they start getting complacent, they start not doing what they're supposed to do. And the same thing can happen if maybe the EFF or the DA takes all the power. That's the main problem. When you give too much power to a political party, you won't have any form of accountability, because they feel like they are unstoppable, they feel like they are untouchable. So we need a non-partisan system, and what I mean by that is we need our electoral system to give a chance to independent candidates who have no affiliation whatsoever with any political party, because that's where the problem comes. I mean, think about it. When you vote for the ANC, you don't decide the head of state. It's the ANC that decides that. So you always have a conflict of interest type of situation, because Cyril needs to focus on the interests of the ANC, because those are the people that put him there. So you have a problem where the head of state is also the head of a party, and not everyone that voted for him has good intentions. Some of them, they just want to eat as much as possible. So if the president is loyal to the party more than they are loyal to the country, then you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a huge problem. The country will be sacrificed for the interest of the political party. So we need a complete overhaul. We need a complete turnaround in terms of our political system. We need a new economic methodology as well, because our current economic system is a neo-colonial system that we inherited from apartheid. So structurally, nothing much has changed. That is why so much inequality exists. Nothing much has happened in terms of economic development, especially for the previously marginalized, the blacks, because structurally those systems are still in place. We need radical reforms. We need complete change in terms of how our economic system works. And I mean, as you all know, corruption is another big problem in this country. We don't have assertive leadership. One of the things that China did to get where they are today was dealing decisively with corruption. Many powerful officials even got arrested based on government corruption. After doing a cleanup, some type of spring cleaning in the state, China started to come up with economic reforms. They started to really climb the ladder in terms of the world economic chain. Look at China now. It's the second largest economy. And I think they are even so close to overtaking the US right now. But it was critical for them to deal with corruption assertively and decisively, because that is holding us back. Money is disappearing that is supposed to be improving this country. Budgets are being mismanaged. Hence, we are in this mess that we are in right now. And who suffers the most? It's the ordinary South Africans who vote for these people. They have very high walls, so the despicable crime that is happening in this country is not affecting them. They are sorted. They get their paycheck every month for doing nothing. They get all their benefits. They still get even more money from their state capture deals. Their parties are paid for. So they don't care about the ripple effect of their lack of leadership. They don't care. It doesn't affect them. They are sorted. They live in those fancy places. Their kids go to fancy schools. Their kids don't use pit latrines for toilets. They don't have those kind of problems. So when people try to reclaim their country by saying we no longer want illegal immigrants here because they are contributing to our high crime rates, those guys don't relate. Journalists would invite so-called experts, researchers, who would speak from afar, who would be quick to say, you all are xenophobic, not understanding what the people are facing on the ground, not understanding the ripple effect of this immigration crisis that we are having in this country. One of the experts, I think it was on 702, went as far as to say we don't have an immigration crisis in this country. I was appalled. We do. You can't deny that. Our borders are not well managed. Anyone can just walk into this country and do whatever they want. And I'm not saying that all the crime in South Africa is committed by immigrants or illegal immigrants. No, we do have a crime problem. South Africans also commit crime. And I'm saying it's also perpetuated by people that you can account for, people that can commit a ruthless crime because they know that they're not on the system. So who protects South Africans, the so-called xenophobic South Africans? Who protects them? Because our government has failed us. We have issues of extreme poverty in South Africa. According to, I think it was a report from the United Nations, I'm not sure, but apparently South Africa is still the most unequal or unequal nation on earth. So you have extremely wealthy people who are the minority, very small percentage. Then you have the middle class, then you have the majority that is living in extreme poverty. That scale is not balanced. So don't be surprised when South Africans get angry. I'm not justifying violence at all, but I'm saying, what must South Africans do because their government has failed them? What must South Africans do to claim our country back? Because clearly we are on our own. If we don't fix this country, no one will. The government doesn't care, like I said. And some of these illegal immigrants are even starting to disrespect us, saying we are lazy, we don't want to start small and all of that. There may be an element of truth in that, in the sense that there are people who are lazy, but you can't generalize and say South Africans are lazy. What do you mean? So they're starting to disrespect us, some of them, because they can do whatever they want in this country. It's a lawless country. Anyone can just come in, cross the border, bribe an official. Even some of these drug dealers, they work with police. We have extreme lawlessness, extreme poverty, extreme unemployment, extreme everything. That is a failing state. I can't stress this enough. This country is in serious trouble. And I think it's going to take all of us standing up and reclaiming our country back. It's going to take all of us to really stand for a political system that will turn things around. We need to get our voices heard, because the ballots doesn't seem to be working. People always vote for the same party that treats us like we are nothing, that expects you to save 350 rand for the whole year and start a business. During that time, what are you eating? What are you eating? And if you have a state that has a large portion of their population depending on handouts or grants from the government, that is a reflection of how incompetent that state or that government is. Because if the state was effective, it would somehow create policies, economic policies that will enable economic growth, that will grow our economy. So if so many people depend on grants, then it means you as the government have failed. We have failed to create opportunities. And I understand that it's not the sole responsibility of the government to create jobs. I understand that. But it is the job of the government to enable, to create an economic system that is conducive, that is, receptive of economic growth. Right now, our economy is not that kind of economy. We are indebted. We are dependent on extraction. We even import things that we should be producing here. I mean, a simple thing is toothpicks. We are importing. Don't you wonder why then our economy is not growing? According to various indexes, South Africa is performing poorer than other similar countries in many socio-economic respects. Our education system is dismal. Our judicial system is dismal. Our political system is a mess. Our Home Affairs Department is the worst. It's one of the worst in the world. And I know what I'm talking about here. I'm not going to elaborate. But one of the reasons why there's an immigration crisis is because Home Affairs is a mess. There are people who are trying to get their legal documents who are so-called quality immigration, But the Home Affairs is all over the place. There are people that have been waiting for outcomes for years. Goes to show how incompetent our government is. They sell us dreams because they're not on the ground. They don't understand what people are going through. People are desperate out there in a country with so many resources, in a country with so much talent. People are going to bed hungry. You're killing this nation. You're killing this nation. And it frustrates me how some journalists also seem captured, because for you to entertain someone who says there's no immigration problem or crisis in this country, for me, that is shocking. What's happening? What's happening? Because you stay in your fancy suburbs. You don't know what's happening in the CBD. You don't understand. My friend was almost killed by 2 illegal immigrants. And how do I know they were illegal? It's because they were captured. And those guys couldn't produce any documents. They couldn't produce any documents. And they were not even deported. I don't think they were deported. Some of the hijackings that are taking place here are committed by illegal immigrants. And again, like I said, I'm not saying all the crime in this country is committed by foreigners. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if there's people that you can't account for, if there's someone in your house but you don't know who they are, but you are letting them stay, and they are ravaging your home, they are ravaging your economy, does that make sense to you?